So, I'm a really big fan of the Sing movies. If you couldn't tell. Wrong background. In case you couldn't tell. But yes, I, like many other people, unexpectedly fell in love with this simple little set of films. The infectious soundtrack, the likable characters, it just drew me in. And because I am so drawn to this film, I am setting out to attempt a video that's not really like anything else I've ever done before. For the next couple months, I am setting off to recreate 9 of the different outfits worn by the characters of the Sing movies. Now, because my sewing skills are only barely existent, I am going to have to rely mainly on several trips to Goodwill, what I own, and a little bit of creative crafting of both. Why even do this? Is it just one of those creative bugs where you see something and you're like, I have to make or build something with what I'm being inspired by? Is it my desire to feel more of a connection to these characters that I like so much? Is it just one of those obsessive things you get when you're on the autism spectrum? Or is it just because, like many, I'm just endlessly inspired by Makara Tours and her similar videos, which I am gleaming from more than a little. And in one of those videos, I do remember her saying this.
But if there's one thing I'd like you to take away from this video, it's this. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you struggle with embarrassment and worrying what other people think about you, it helps to purposefully put yourself in at least one embarrassing situation a week, and eventually you'll become desensitized to the sensation.
And that message of hers has always kind of stuck with me, so maybe that's as good a reason as any to be doing this. But regardless, that's what I'm setting off to do, and I'm taking you along with me. I can't promise it'll be perfect. Heck, the only outfit I've really ever created before this was my sister's dog's Halloween costume a couple years ago. I am venturing into uncharted territory. I'm no costumer. I'm just one Aspie who wants to do something a little extra with the movies I love so much. Let's go.
You nervous?
Are you kidding? I'm absolutely terrified.
Okay, so it's day 1, and I'm already a little behind. A sign of things to come? But that's mainly because my best friend David is coming to stay the night for a couple days. So I've been spending most of my morning, getting the guest room ready for him. Because I just care about that guy so much. Darn construction in my neighborhood right now. It's like they don't know that a masterpiece is being filmed right now. I mean, I assume. It's a large world. I'm sure a masterpiece is being filmed somewhere. Okay, one second. So basically, what outfit I need today has to be basically determined by which one can I put together the fastest. And for me, that answer's easy. Yeah, the reason that this one is easy is because I'm basically just recycling pieces of an outfit that I had for a Halloween costume a couple years back, which consists of this shirt. Dang, how do people throw things flat all the time? This shirt, which was just a normal green shirt from Hobby Lobby that I then cut stencils out of cardstock and then painted with fabric spray paint. Get that piece of lint. It isn't the most accurate since in the movie we can clearly see later that his shirt underneath is long-sleeved. But when you live in Louisiana, you can wear long-sleeve shirts 3 months out of the year, but those weeks of those months are very rarely consecutive. So I put this shirt on, which on its own either makes me look like Green Flash or like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. But once I dig that leather jacket out of my closet that I only wear for special occasions, I'm now set to be Johnny. And one of my cadet caps, because I'm still me after all. When my best friend David showed up, we got in my car to head off to lunch. All right, on our way to Jason's.
Why do you have a pot in your car?
It's not mine.
You mean the metal thing down there?
Oh, yeah, that's another thing I'm selling.
Or rather, you just smoke.
I thought the drive there would be more eventful, but there was actually very little to see.
Whoa! What?
Whoa.
What?
Once we arrived at Jason's, I had to get confirmation of what our order number was on camera, though I am not going to comment on it. And then I got the healthy choice of a salad, and we had a pretty good lunch. I then decided to reward myself for getting a healthy choice by getting not 1, but 2 ice cream cones, which I guess just undid the healthy choice. I almost tripped.
Yeah?
But I'm okay. You know why?
Why?
because I'm still standing.
I'm gonna push you in front of that truck.
Yeah, David likes to show his friendship in very specific ways. After making a couple more stops, we then went back to my house where we watched the original Avatar movie in preparation for the sequel coming out. Okay, so we just finished watching Avatar, first time since I saw it in theaters. Yeah, I definitely don't remember the movie feeling this long when I first saw it, so I guess my assessment is right that if I'm gonna see the sequel, it's definitely gonna be in theaters, where it's gonna be at its best. But now I want to take a couple moments for some thoughts on Johnny and this outfit. Johnny is probably my favorite. Definitely my favorite character of the group. Definitely performed my favorite song of the movie. I listen to I'm Still Standing sometimes whenever I'm jamming out and just heading to an event I like, so now I just associate the song with a good feeling even more than I already did. And I always am a sucker for a good father-son story. The scene in the jail cell is pretty heartbreaking. Especially seeing that slight detail of Johnny's lip just kind of quivering. I can't help but feel for the guy. But yeah, Johnny's just got a very likable personality. He's kind of got like a tough-looking exterior, but from pretty much most of what we see of him, he's a pretty soft guy. I'd kill for those singing abilities and those piano skills. And I've seen enough polls online that have asked who would have won the contest had it actually remained a contest. And pretty much in every single one of those polls, I see Johnny taking the lead pretty easily. And I would agree with that too. I really thought we were going to see him and Ash move closer together. There's some subtle hints in the first movie that made me think, are they going to go into a romance eventually?
Ah, talk some sense into that boyfriend of yours.
Lance is an artist, but I wouldn't expect you to understand that.
You're right. I don't understand that at all.
And that didn't really happen. I think they maybe said one or two sentences to each other, if even that, in the entire movie, so I don't know. We both definitely know the pains of, driving lessons with your parents and how nightmarish those can be. And he does have his rough side with the fact that he was very nearly going to steal the prize money before he had a change of heart, but I think that change of heart is why he's such a popular character in general. People just sort of sense the lovability to this character. As far as outfits, well, weather turned a little warm, so I didn't wear the leather jacket as much as I probably would have normally. But as is, this has been a nice enough outfit. Now again, this was fabric painted, so it's not quite as soft as I would have liked it. No matter how much they tell you it's going to dry soft, it usually never does. But yeah, I could see myself wearing this outfit again. But yeah, Johnny's hands down my favorite character. I can't wait to see more of him in the future. You got any thoughts, comrade?
Honestly, I was impressed that Elton John's stepson was able to do good as the role.
Okay, so tomorrow, my best movie buddy Josh has the day off, so I'm gonna go over to his place so we can work in, one of our infamous triple features. And now I'm kind of just planning out some of the days of what I'm wearing where. So I'm like, what's appropriate for Josh's place? And the answer's obvious to me. Is it not obvious to you? It's not supposed to be. So, much like Eddie, Josh has his own place on his parents' property next to the pool. So it kind of just seems appropriate. Wear it to the pool house. And for whatever reason, I've became kind of fixated on this pool house and Sing for a while. How much, you ask? Oh, that's right. I forgot I took it apart when we needed to film my short film here. Yeah, so it turns out that this video is not the first time I've become creatively obsessed with something Sing related. A while back, I set about making a miniature replica of Eddie's pool house. At first, it was just the main living room that we see in the movie, before I eventually added onto it the kitchen that we vaguely see in Eddie's life coach. Before I eventually added a bathroom, which we never see but I assume has to exist, before adding a sunroom, which I'm almost positive does not exist at all. But I tried to be fairly accurate where it counted. I have to say, I really enjoyed having this ongoing craft project. Eddie, were you upset you weren't in Sing 2? But now to gather the pre-gathered supplies. First, I grabbed a yellow athletic shirt from Walmart and a green fabric marker, and then with a ruler and a yardstick, I, best as I could, traced lines up and down the shirt, so that it looked a little less like a plain yellow shirt and more like a pinstripe bumblebee, or maybe a springtime Hufflepuff. And if you're noticing that large green splotch at the bottom, yeah, I started with another fabric marker that bled a little bit too much, and I initially planned on just going to get a new shirt and starting over the next day, but I decided it really wasn't that big of a deal. Mainly because at that point my laziness outweighed my perfectionism. But aside from that splotch, I'm actually happy with how this turned out. Even though it's not there in the movie, I also traced around the collar just so it would give sort of a defining edge to where the lines ended. And then I sought to connect the front and back lines, which really highlighted how off I was. Next, I was able to find this red jacket at Goodwill, which makes me look like I'm one of those people that's got enough self-control to go jogging in the morning, but will be the basis for Eddie's red jacket. For those white lines going down the sleeves, I got out 3 evenly spaced pieces of masking tape, because I was not running into that marker bleeding problem again, and filled in the gaps with a white fabric marker. I realized it worked better if the ends were stretched tight so that the lines were straight, so I started to weigh the sleeve down to help keep it tight. Once I was done, I got the always satisfying moment of getting to peel the tape off. Some of the lines were a little faded, so I decided to go back over them a little bit with the fabric marker, being careful to stay within the lines. Next, for that collar, which makes it look a little bit more like a Letterman jacket, something I sadly never owned. I found this riveted knit fabric from Walmart for just $4, and I decided it was perfect. That is, until I noticed that it had a ring-shaped stain on it. So I went to pull out another section of the fabric, but that darn pesky stain just kept chasing me all around that fabric. I wonder if this is why it was only $4. Anyways, I did eventually find a spot that was large enough that didn't have a stain on it and cut that piece out. I cut this piece out so that it would fairly evenly fold over the back of the collar so it would be on the inside and outside. To help with this process, I decided to iron the edges so that it had a tendency to fold over, and then I glued that in place with some fabric glue, weighting it down as I went. One weight just did not want to balance on it at all, so I just settled for leaning it kind of halfway on it. But just so it would have a little extra stability, I decided to sew either end down to the collar. But that's where I ran into a bit of an issue. The needle broke. Like maybe this is a common thing for people who sew all the time, but I'm just so baffled by this. It couldn't go through fabric. Yeah, I just hot glued the rest down. Next, to make that necklace of his, I first gathered a bunch of old beads I got from the Dollar Tree that I hadn't found much use for, and sharp-eyed viewers might notice that these aren't in fact the right colors, to which I say I'm partially colorblind in real life, so, you know, that's my excuse. So I proceeded to skewer them up like fruit kebabs made of wild berries that could probably kill you, laid them over a box, and then spray painted them red. Next, to make a tassel, grab some embroidery floss, wrap it around an item of appropriate width. I used an old name tag from one of my previous jobs. I'm kind of surprised I still had that name tag lying around. Carefully slide that coil off, slip a piece of string through the loop, tie it tight. Before tying another knot, I put a straw through mine just so I could maintain that hole that I could thread it through. Tie a knot beneath it, and then cut the loop at the bottom. And you have your simple tassel. Then, once the beads are dry, you can slide them off the skewer so you now have farmcore style candy canes for decoration around Christmas time, if you're going for that cottage style aesthetic. Next, get some red twine and find a necklace that you like the length of, and then measure out 2.5 times the length of that necklace onto the red twine. Knot a small loop at the very center of the twine, and then double it over and start threading the 2 ends through the beads. Once you get about halfway, put the tassel on, finish off with the beads, and then at the end you tie a knot that can slip into the loop and act as your makeshift clasp. Finally, I found these pants, which, as you can probably tell by me calling them pants, are not shorts, and I had honestly planned on maybe cutting them down and then learning how to hem them, but then I found this pair of shorts, which admittedly did look a little big, but after one hot wash, they felt a little better, and they looked a little closer to what Eddie has. Oddly enough, this is the only outfit where I felt inclined to change what I was wearing on my feet, but I don't know, sandals with socks just felt more appropriate for Eddie. Anyways, after making some stops, I then headed on over to my friend Josh's. And along the way, I even saw a bumper sticker talking about how Eddie should be in the 3rd movie. Alright, let's see if once we get past the tree line, I can see if his dog Porter's waiting on the porch for me. Doesn't look like he is. Is he anywhere else around? Oh, you're not Porter, but I'll take it. Hey, Brucey boy. I'm so lucky I have such a welcoming committee every time I come here. Good boy. And now Leia's come to greet me too. It's like Noah's Ark sometimes. Isn't it, boy? And while in the pool house, I took some further shots trying to channel my inner Eddie. So much so that I actually picked up a video game controller like I had any idea what I was doing, because I sadly never graduated beyond a Super Nintendo when I was a kid. Which I'm honestly kind of glad for, because I already didn't have much of a life as a kid. If I had gotten obsessed with video games, I definitely never would have left my house. Well, I did eventually find my canine nephew Porter, and arguably just as important, I found my friend Josh. Alright, so I'm chilling in the pool house now with my best movie buddy, Josh. And now I'm just thinking, my thoughts on Eddie. Eddie's honestly one of my favorites, probably top 3 or 4 favorite characters. Because of that I'm really sad that he wasn't in the second movie. But Mike wasn't, so it was kind of an even trade. I kind of like how him and Buster kind of have their balanced relationship, and even though I'm dressed like Eddie here, I feel like in our friendship, I feel like you're more the Eddie and I'm more the Buster Moon, for better or worse, whatever that entails.
No arguments here.
And yeah, like I said, I kind of just took to the whole pool house thing in the movie, to the point that any nights when I was just lying awake, not able to fall asleep, I'd just imagine what it would be like to be sleeping in that pool house or something. Just chilling with Buster and Eddie. But yeah, I do like Eddie's more kind of down-to-earthness with Buster. You know, it's the whole gas and the brakes thing. Eddie's the practical one, but I also like that he come and helps Buster out with the car wash, gives Buster a place to stay. Yeah, Eddie's a cool guy. I hope he kind of returns in Sing 3, if there is one. But yeah, that's, my thoughts on Eddie. Honestly, I might try to find an excuse to wear this kind of outfit more often. You got anything else you want to say?
One question. Who are you?
After clearing up who the stranger was in his house, we watched some more movies, and I think he had a pretty good time.
Honey? You motherfucker! You motherfucker!
He got over it pretty quickly. And all in all, was a pretty good evening. Okay, so on today's agenda, I am going to grab something to eat, going to work, going to grab something to eat again, because it'll be, 6 hours later. And then I'm going to a play that a friend of mine invited me to. So what Sing character's outfit is appropriate to wear to a theater? Well, I mean, all of them, I guess, technically. But the best one for putting on a show, even though I'm not the one putting on this show, I'm just attending, it's Buster Moon. Now, Buster's outfit consists of a white button-up shirt, a red bow tie, and blue pants with a matching jacket. Now, the shirt and the bow tie I already had, but the suit pieces actually turned out to be one of the harder searches I had. I just couldn't find any matching sets, none that fit anyways, so I had to resort to finding them separately. But the issue you have whenever you're partially colorblind is it's really hard to get them to match, even when you have a picture of them with you. I'm really glad I wasn't planning on having Eddie's yellow suit in this video. I'd have had a much harder time finding that. So I had to settle for these pants and this jacket, which was a little snug, but I am noticing that Buster almost never has his jacket buttoned up, so I figured it could work.
Some called him a visionary, a maverick. Sure, some folks said he was as crazy as he was stubborn, but I say wonder and magic don't come easy, pal. And oh, there would never be any doubt. The name Buster Moon would go down in entertainment history. And I should know. Because
I am not singing this.
What's not to like? You're a female and you're a teenager. This song was made for you.
Wow, it's like you can see inside my tiny teenage mind.
I know, right? You just gotta add some moves and a little bit of, hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe.
If you're gonna make a fool of yourself, you might as well have fun with it. Okay, so while these pants do fit a little bit better than some of the other ones I had, one downside I don't like to pants that fit like this. Now everyone's gonna know I'm one of those people that carries around a cell phone with them at all times. Wait, this isn't my cell phone. Where's my cell phone? Oh, right. And now I'm all set to go out on the town as Buster Moon. Wait, I'm going to work right now. I gotta change into this afterwards. Well, as I was leaving work, everyone wanted to comment on my outfit. I told some of them I was going to my second job. I was told I looked spiffy, though. Okay, so not 5 minutes after filming that, I got in a minor fender bender. Everyone was okay, but my car did get scratched up just after I sunk dollars into repairs this past week. But I remember someone once saying that when you've hit rock bottom, there's only one place left to go, and that's up to the theater. Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm censoring the title of this show, it's because things actually did get worse. That show was actually pretty awful. I did run into my theater friend Drew, though, and that honestly did make the night better, because at least now I had someone to give awkward glances next to me, just to be like, this is bad, right? I'm not crazy, right? Misery likes company, I guess. One other small positive about the evening was, prior to the show, they were asking trivia questions about horror movies and giving out gift cards if you got one right. And yours truly even got one right. My question was about what animal of blood was dumped on Carrie White at her prom. And even though a lot of people's hands went up whenever the question was asked, the host actually chose me, saying, "You with the bow tie." So see, dressing like Buster Moon does lead to positive things. My thoughts on Buster Moon? Yeah, I actually like Buster a lot. I know there's a lot of people that, really don't. And, you know, it's funny, I have a friend of mine who listed all the because I was like, why? I was like, why do you hate Buster so much? And she listed all the reasons, and I was like, all the reasons you hate Buster Moon are the reasons I hate Sir Niles from Missing Link. Yeah, and I can't really explain that. I still love Buster, and I hate him, so... I don't really have an explanation for that. I don't know. I admire Buster's ambition. I love his optimism. You know, it's funny. I actually told my boss one day, who is also a very ambitious, optimistic guy. He has kids, and he's seen the movie Sing, and I kind of said, like, you remind me a little bit of Buster. And to my surprise, he actually said, you know, I thought the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. I can't bring myself to dislike Buster. He needs to be a bit more considerate at times. He's, I do love that he comes around on a lot of that stuff, you know, whether it's recognizing Ash's talents or, you know, being apologetic with the group and, I don't know, just above all, bringing everything together, recognizing people's potential. I'll put it this way. I would have rather had Buster as a director than some of the ones I've gotten over the past. And now it's on with the show! And just since I know some of y'all are wondering, no, I was not in the full Buster Moon getup whenever me and the other driver swapped information. I had the jacket off. I think I just had the bow tie on, kind of like how I did now. I told him I had just come from work, so I'm fairly certain he initially thought I was like a waiter at some fancy restaurant or something. But once I explained that, I also just found we were kind of in the moments of awkward silence waiting for the police to arrive, so I did just eventually tell him what exactly it is I'm doing, and sure enough, he's got kids who love the movie Sing, so maybe I'll be sending him this video when I'm done. That's a nice way to remember me. Okay, so I forgot that my friends Luke and Lauren are having a going away party this evening after I get off work, and I gotta leave for work in like 15 minutes, so the going away party is also sort of a proto-Halloween party, so costumes are encouraged. So I need to grab something that can work as my Sing outfit, so... Yeah, this one was a little out of nowhere for me too. And if you're wondering what constitutes this one to be good enough for a Halloween costume, well, it's because of a little addition I'm going to add to it. To make said addition, in the 15 minutes before you leave for work, you'll have to print out a label for a Prozac bottle, find the largest medicine bottle you have, dump out the pills into a plastic bag for later so that they're not constantly rattling around inside, and much less likely to spill out and cause a riot at the party that you're going to. Next, knot some twine around the bottle's neck so that it can be worn around your neck. And there you have your addition that officially makes this a costume. For the bottom layer of my costume, I'm going with this red and white shirt, which isn't quite a dead ringer, but it's all I had lying around. So one of my coworkers, whenever I walked out, said, "Wow, so much swag," and then said I made his day. Okay, so next couple of steps is running to Walmart to grab some potato salad, because no one called dibs on that yet for what they're bringing, and heading to Lauren and Luke's. Realizing I should probably not be wearing this into a Walmart. I keep forgetting to keep an eye out if people are staring at me, but I don't know. I honestly don't think I'm really getting all that many eyes on me. I guess these people just don't think I'm as swag as my coworker did. Okay, just pulled up. As I said, I am at a going away party for my friends Luke and Lauren. They got married last year. Met them in some play rehearsals, and we've worked together a few times now. But yes, they are moving to Tennessee. So went and picked up 2 things of potato salad. And also for their going away present, got a discounted P code for Lauren. And Luke's had one for a while, so now they can match, and she expressed some interest in it. And for Luke, I got a copy of the book, Dad, How Do I? And really great book, really quite enjoy it. And Luke grew up with a con artist father who he barely really knew. It's kind of an interesting story. He should probably be the one to tell you that. But I figured he'd like this a lot too. The party was in full swing when I got there, and had quite a few colorful characters. And because it's a Luke and Lauren party, there was karaoke involved.
If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well,
Oh my gosh! I thought you guys said you were musicians.
Please don't think I'm being serious. I am no one to judge someone's karaoke singing.
If they karaoke night, you get the mic because I'm singing.
In fact, I can pretty confidently say that everyone there was a better singer than I was.
No words can bring me down.
Okay, so for those of you who still haven't figured out what the Prozac bottle is about, so this is the double meaning of my costume. Tropical depression. Admittedly, my costume did need explanation for everyone who asked me about it, but once I explained what it was, I actually got a lot of laughs on it. One person even went as far as saying it was the best costume they'd ever seen, which, you know, it's not. It objectively is not, but they did ask to take a picture of it anyways. Well, that was a fun evening. Okay, so tonight is Halloween, and I surprisingly did not take this time to go as any of the characters. So I just reused one of my other costumes as Gene from Bob's Burgers, which is why I'm so, bold primary colors tonight. Yellow and denim. Respect. And why I'm so babyface. I'll grow it back in 2 days. But day after Halloween is an important day for me, because it's the day all the stuff at Spirit Halloween goes on sale. So I called up my friend Jordan, who's an even bigger fan of Spirit Halloween than I am, and he and I are going to hit the sale in the morning before everything is sold out. So for this, I need an outfit appropriate for going to a Halloween store. For Lance's outfit, I'm going to need jeans and a black t-shirt, which are items I already have, but it's mainly going to be that long-sleeved shirt of dark blue and azure stripes that are going to give this outfit any specificity. And while I did find this striped shirt at Goodwill, it wasn't quite the right color, but I think we can fix that by just giving it a little dye bath. Poured in the salt, a little bit of dish soap, got my evening blue Rit dye, or as I like to call it, evening blue. Washed off that peel lid just so I got the absolute most amount of dye that I could for my money, poured that in there and let it go. And once it was done, look how perfect this came out. It wasn't even wet. I'm kidding. This is actually what it looked like when I pulled it out. But once it dried, it did look pretty close. Due to my ongoing lack of porcupine quills to stick through the shirt, I added this little chain to my pocket as a little flair, and it seemed appropriate.
So get some sleep and dream big dreams.
Okay, so I'm up and I'm about to go get Jordan, and I just had the first legitimately bad night's sleep I've had in probably about a month, and I absolutely count my blessings on that. I used to have, you know, bad nights of sleep almost every night, because I have been thinking, I'm like, it's been a lot of good nights. When's the bad one gonna come? And of course it comes on a day that I was trying to wake up early, so. Oh well, that's what 5-hour energy's for. I don't quite know what the point of this is, but I think I like it. Is this a new Halloween decoration? Huh, pumpkins on a bench. Might make that the next title of my rap album. So me and Jordan are out here sitting outside the Spirit, waiting for them to open, staring down anyone who looks like they have keys. No, not really. We're not that violent. Why do I have that chair leg in my car still? One of the owners brought their dog. We then perused the aisles of discounted merchandise. Ravenclaw, Slytherin, Gryffindor. I'm used to it by this point. But when we drove to the second Spirit Halloween location, we came across this. Okay guys, I have to tell you all this. If this is another Jurassic Park, these chain link fences are not gonna do much good. Christmas decorations going up the day after Halloween. Jordan, do you know who that is? I've never heard of him.
Yes, we don't talk about Bruno.
Canes. And right next to top hats. Oh my gosh, I have to.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
After checking out a few more items and finding out that my friend Jordan can pull off a shoulder dragon pretty well, we took our bounty with us and I dropped Jordan off before heading back home. Okay, so back from Spirit Halloween with Jordan, and now I'm home. I got this mirror here that I kind of want to spray paint before trying to sell on Marketplace. But in order to spray paint it, I need to basically line this entire area with small strips of painter's tape. And then just cover the whole center with some larger strips. So that is just going to be some long, tedious work. And I'm sure there's a way to cover that faster outside of just finding a perfectly sized trash can lid to cover it with. So if you know of an easier way to do that, then leave it in the comments. It'll be too late by the time you post it, but I'll know for next time. In lieu of my thoughts on Lance, which I don't really have any thoughts. I have thoughts, just not on Lance. I didn't really like him. I wasn't really supposed to, so mission accomplished. Nothing else really to say. And I decided I might as well tell y'all about my story of how I came to see the movie Sing for the first time. So, yeah, despite what some of you may think, I didn't really have any interest in seeing the movie Sing. I saw the multiple trailers of it being advertised, and the thought I just kept having was, who is the main character in this? And of course the answer ended up being that they all were, but still. I don't know. I didn't have any interest in it. It didn't look all that up my alley. So I had no plans on seeing it. But a little while later, I was writing for a now-defunct website called Backstory, and I was writing movie reviews for them. And I told the guy who ran the site, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go see 2 movies tomorrow, and I'll hopefully have a review on both of them. Those 2 movies were Jordan Peele's Get Out and Rock Dog. And I kind of realized, I'm like, I really should have seen the last animated movie about musically inclined animals, just so I know, how much of this is original or how much of it is ripping off. Kind of how, like, whenever I saw The Secrets You Keep, and I said, oh, so this movie's basically an even worse version of Hard Candy, when in reality, it was a worse version of Death and the Maiden. So I was like, I don't want to go into this not having seen that, so I was like, okay, I guess I do need to see this animated movie Sing. Problem is I didn't think about this until the night before I was going to see the other 2 movies. I kind of realized, I'm like, okay, I've got to get some work done in the late morning, and then I got the movies. And also, it was going to be a Friday evening when I got home, and I was like, that's usually when me and my folks watch a movie. And even I'm like, trying to put 4 movies in one day? At the time, that seemed like an impossible feat to me. Little did I know what I'd become later. What I ended up deciding was I was like, okay, it's 9 p.m. right now. Let me watch the first half of that Sing movie tonight, and then I'll finish it in the morning. That way, I'm not trying to squeeze 4 full movies in one day. So, I start watching the movie Sing. First of all, realizing, okay, it's not a cringy mess like I thought it would be. I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit. And then we get to the halfway point in the film, which is, of course, where the theater collapses. And that's also where I had to stop watching that night. And I'm just left in a disarray, because I'm thinking, okay, I thought the worst that was going to happen was, Nana Noodleman was going to turn them down and, they weren't going to have the money. I did not expect that much devastation. Now I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait until the morning till I can finish it and see what happens. So then comes the next morning. I wake up, first thing I do is I finish watching it and enjoyed it all around. And now I had all these great songs stuck in my head, keeping me going for the rest of the day. After that, I went and got some work done. I used to be doing some work in my neighborhood at the time. So already it was like, started my day with the pretty happy ending to a movie. Got some work done, so I felt productive. Then went to go see Jordan Peele's Get Out, which was good. Came home, worked out, which also made me feel good. Then I saw Rock Dog, which was nothing special, but I still had a fun time watching it. And then I came home, and honestly, that day has just always stuck with me as like, that was a pretty good day. And it started with Sing. And from there, I was kind of just recommending the movie to a lot of people. And every person that I recommended it to who saw it, or even just people who said they also saw it, all kind of said the same thing. They all said I wasn't expecting to like it, just like I wasn't. Also important to note that for those of you who do remember, that Sing did come out the same year as Zootopia, and it came out after Zootopia, no less. So there was already this movie about a city of animals stuck in everyone's mind, and one that was a lot more, I guess, substantial, you'd say, to the point that I almost think it's unfair whenever I see pieces up online that say, like, Zootopia or Sing, which one's the better movie? And part of me is just like, well, that's an unfair question. Zootopia is the better film, because it's trying to say more. Like I said, it's got more substance to it. But if you're gonna ask me which film do I enjoy more and which film have I watched a heck of a lot more, I think the answer is probably obvious to you by now. So much so, in fact, that whenever Sing 2 came out, I found out where they were screening it like a month early and bought my 2 tickets immediately. I didn't even know who was gonna go see it with me at the time, but I knew I was gonna go see it. If you actually listened to all that, then your attention span is officially better than mine was in high school. Once I was done taping it off, I spray painted the whole frame so all parts would be matching white, let it dry, removed the tape, and then sold it on Facebook Marketplace a couple days later. I'm so glad I opened up this channel to talk about my Marketplace fix-ups. Oh, that's not what this is about, right? Okay, so tomorrow is Sunday. So before I go to my shift at work, I have to go to church, run by Ollie's and use that coupon that I've been holding off on, and grab a bite to eat. Now, of those 3 things, the only one that really comes with much of a dress code is going to church. So I need a Sing character's outfit that is appropriate for such an occasion. But what Sing character's outfit is appropriate for church? The answers may surprise you. Yeah, sorry for everyone who was hoping it was Gunter's caterpillar costume. It was a close second. And while it may seem a little strange to dress like a gang leader in church, it is important to remember that he went through a redemption arc, and there's no place more about redemption than church. For Big Daddy's outfit, I got this shirt at Goodwill that's honestly kind of a dead ringer for the color of his shirt, and I'm gonna pair it with some black jeans that I already owned. The only thing really specific about Big Daddy's outfit is that necklace he has, and though I did a lot of searching at a lot of stores, all I found was a gold chain that I thought I could use because it looks like I'm making my own. To make this pendant, I took a coffee stirrer from my local Starbucks, cut it up into pieces, gathered up 4 sets of 3, and then glued those together. Once those had fully solidified, I used those to make a rectangle, screwed in an eyelet at the top, sanded the edges and corners a little bit before spray painted it all gold. Once it was dry, I took my bezel, as it's apparently called, and filled it with some Mod Podge 3D Magic, and a drop of red food coloring. Stirred that together, and it looked like it was going to turn out pretty good. But then once it dried, it turned out a little concave and not quite as smooth or good looking as I was hoping. So I decided to cut that out of the center and instead turn to Mod Podge Dimensional Magic's much more hard to manage cousin, clear epoxy resin. I mixed up a small amount of it, put another drop of food coloring in that, and carefully ladled it into the center. I was just initially going to show you the finished product of the resin and act like it was still the Mod Podge that had done it, but I really want to be honest with you guys, because if it's one thing I don't want to end up like, it's those fake craft channels that show you impossible results while happy music plays. Once I had all these pieces together, after adding on my newfound pendant, I also looked through a bunch of old rings that I had lying around, so I could add just the right amount of bling that just said, I own a garage. Yes, that's right, it's a garage and nothing else. So keep walking. So temperatures dropped quite a bit and it is a bit chilly outside, so like father, like son. I then made it to church, where I didn't feel too out of place with my outfit, though I did still sit at the back, mainly just because that's normally where I usually sit. Our sermon that day was about giving, so I decided to give y'all this video. But I can't say more about myself than that because I have to give humbly. After leaving church, I had to make my second stop. There he is! My man Ollie. And Ollie's truly is like a box of chocolate because you never know what you're going to find. Like walking sticks with carved animals. Wolf or a bear, a moose or a deer, a badger or eagle with a nose and ears. Lavender. Money scented. What does money smell like? No, seriously, what does money smell like? I don't know. I did eventually find stuff that I needed though, so my coupon and time there were well spent.
Punch him in the nose.
Well, got all my semi-essentials that seem to be exclusively at Ollie's. Now on to lunch. I had had my heart set on Taco Bell that day, but it turns out the lobby was closed. So then I set my eyes on Popeyes, but that unfortunately meant I had to take off all the rings I had because this place is finger-licking good, and I really just don't want to lick fingers that have rings on them. Also, I don't want to lick my fingers in general, that's why I carry Germ-X with me all the time. That was good. So, thoughts on Big Daddy? Honestly, kind of weird saying that name a lot. Although apparently he was originally going to be named Marcus according to some promotional material, it's just never been confirmed in the movie. But for lack of awkwardness, I'm just going to refer to him as Marcus for a bit. Yeah, I like his character a lot. If anyone's followed my taste in movies enough, they know that along with Kung Fu Panda, Horton Hears a Who, Shark Tale, How to Train Your Dragon, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and of course, Sing, a running theme in a lot of these is that it includes a dad who has a son who's just not what he envisioned. This is just added to that as well. I like his voice. I like the growth that his character goes through. Of course, earlier in the first film, it is a little bit hard to watch. The scene where he more or less disowns Johnny, but also just how much Johnny is trying to get his dad's approval. It's clear he really doesn't want to disappoint his dad, even though he's extremely frustrated with it. So, hearing him beam with pride, saying, "That's my son," yeah, that's something special. And of course, I'm a sucker for good father-son hug moments, which also enjoyed that. I had a hunch that if he was brought up in Sing 2 at all, they were going to say something like, the judge went easy on him because he's the first prisoner who's ever left prison to return himself to prison. That didn't happen exactly. But it does look like he got a lesser sentence, and yeah, I'm glad to see that he's gone through some changes, seems to be happy with his lot in life, and is very supportive of Johnny now. It's nice to see, and I do enjoy seeing that. I do kind of wish that in the second movie that Klaus and Marcus could have maybe had a little bit of a meet-up, although I think we all know how that would go.
You were this close to losing your...
But yeah, when he did show up on the phone call in the second film, I kind of was just in my seat. I was glad they included him, and it looks like he might make an appearance in the third one too. I'm hoping this time around Johnny is telling his dad about how he may have feelings for a certain porcupine. But yeah, as far as this outfit goes, I could honestly see myself wearing at least the shirt and maybe the necklace together again. The rings, I am realizing, there's a lot of things that I kind of wanted to take these off for. First of all, I'm not used to having multiple rings on one finger, so yeah, they keep clicking together a lot like that. I honestly could start wearing this mood ring again, though. It's been a while since I've done that one. But yeah, rings aside, this has been a nice outfit to wear. I could see myself doing this one again. Do you ever just feel invisible? So part of the reason that this video is just so out of order and all the days are kind of spread out is because I'm having to account for weather, since a lot of these outfits are either long-sleeved pants, and while for the past 3 days it's been in the 40s, Today, it's already gotten up to late 60s and will be in the 70s today, but hopefully it'll have cooled down by night. So today I had plans to go get lunch with my friend Ben from my autism support group, and so he and I are gonna grab something to eat, and then I might be going to a choir concert tonight. So while lunch has very little dress code to it, is there an outfit that wouldn't be totally distracting if I wore it to a choir concert? This was the outfit that I honestly was probably most picky with as I was Goodwill shopping, because while I initially got this shirt to try to pass for the plaid shirt that he has, I eventually went with this one, which I thought was a little closer. The red jacket was also one of my hard finds. I eventually went with this red blazer. It wasn't quite the same material as you can tell his is in the film, but, well, beggars can't be choosers. And once I had this together, I set off to make that iconic guitar pose. Well, iconic to me, anyways. Alright, on my way to go pick up Ben. I think this outfit calls for something a little extra. Actually, I've never driven with clip-ons before, maybe I shouldn't risk it. I went and picked up my friend Ben at his house, and we set off on our lunch endeavor. You know, they say it's impossible to drive all the way to Sicily, but we're gonna see if we can do it in 30 minutes. They said it couldn't be done, but in just 30 minutes, we made it to Sicily's. I'm sorry, did y'all think I meant something else earlier? I guess I shouldn't have left that apostrophe S off, it's really confusing. Anyways, though, we made it inside and had ourselves a smorgasbord that can only come from an Italian buffet. I took off my red jacket, even though this is one of the few outfits I don't have to worry about getting spaghetti stains on. Both me and Ben piled our plates high and had a good lunch. But afterwards, we had another quest to set off on. Well, I am now thoroughly full. Are you, Ben? Okay, but unfortunately, I do also have to go to a Goodwill, and it may take some time to find one. Found one. Wow, 2 easy quests back to back? I'm getting lucky these days. After shopping around for a bit, Ben's parents picked him up and I headed home. Okay, so the reason that I wanted to go into Goodwill is because a while back I got this bathrobe for pretty cheap because it didn't come with a belt. And I wanted to give it to a friend of mine, but I don't want to give it to them without a belt. So I'm like, it's an off chance, but let me go into some Goodwills and see if they just happen to have a random bathrobe belt that just happens to be the same color, just lying around for 59 cents. But guys, I have to tell you, yeah, that there wasn't anything in there appropriate. I guess you could say I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Aww. So I headed back home for a little while before eventually heading off to the choir concert. So, I race across town to make it to the choir concert, and after executing what may have been the tightest parallel park I've ever had to do, I make it up the front steps and find out that it's $25 a person, which was not advertised on the poster. And yeah, I was in one of those weird mental states where I'm like, no, for once I'm not gonna give in to the fact that I already devoted time to doing this. By the way, did you know there's a phrase for that thought process? I had no idea. And also there's a free choir concert I always go to later in the month anyways, so there's that. But I decided since I couldn't listen to choir songs, why not go see a movie that is titled after a choir song? And plus the movie started like 20 minutes from when I found out about the ticket prices, so I was kind of in a, okay, make a decision minute. But I quite enjoyed it. I heard the bells. It was a nice period piece movie and the kind that I kind of like watching around the holiday season. So, thoughts on Clay Calloway? I quite enjoyed this character as an addition to the cast. I haven't followed Bono himself all that much closely, so I can't say that that was like an incentive for me to like the character, but I kind of am interested in checking back on, you know, some of his past works and songs. I do think he's kind of a sympathetic loner character, and I do enjoy that about him. Since Sing 2 did end implying that he's going to be part of the crew now, I am kind of interested to see some more background on him outside of, you know, just his wife, or maybe even just how she inspired some of his songs. I liked some of his callousness. I honestly do think it is kind of refreshing to see in the film, but I also am glad that he kind of softens to it as well. I don't know why, I really like the line where after Buster suggests they jump out of the window, that's the moment that Clay says he's starting to come around to Buster.
I'm beginning to like this guy.
I do love the scene of him sitting on the porch with Ash. I do tend to go back and forth on stuff like that. Sometimes I do like it whenever it's quiet and you don't need words. Sometimes I just kind of want it spelled out for me and I like hearing people discuss their thoughts on the situation. Here, I could have taken it either way. I do think it turned out to be a very nice scene between the two of them. I would love to see Clay interact with some of the other characters going forward. I'd be interested to see how they continue to work him in. Now, as far as the outfit goes, you might be surprised, but this was actually the outfit that inspired me to even want to do this. I kind of was just like, I don't know why, I liked this getup that he has. Now, again, I was hoping for, you know, something more along the lines of a coat jacket like he had in the film. But yeah, I don't know why I was so drawn to his outfit in the film. As far as wearing it out, I don't know that I got too many looks. Ben asked if anyone would recognize me, and I didn't think it was that recognizable of an outfit. Now, I will say this is the outfit that I do feel kind of aged me up the most. So, I don't know how I feel about that too much, but honestly, I feel like this is the kind of outfit I would make part of my regular wardrobe in my 50s or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll don it every once in a while. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to be used in the future. Now, on to the next one. Okay, so today is one of the days of the local film festival in town, which is something that I used to go to every single year, but this will be actually my first time going back since 2019. And my friend Josh, that guy who didn't know me from last time, well, I must have made a great impression on him because he's decided to attend with me. I voted a couple days ago. So on this day that I'm going to be chatting with filmmakers, I want to look, you know, nice and friendly and approachable. Is there any other option? For Johnny's outfit from the second movie, I once again utilized a shirt that I had hand-painted myself, and didn't I do such a great job? I'm kidding. Although I did recreate the design myself, the shirt has been printed by an actual manufacturer. But I do sell it on my Etsy account, so if you're interested in having your very own Johnny shirt, check the link in the description.
Shaking. I love it when you go crazy. You take all my inhibitions. Baby, there's nothing holding me back.
Alright, all set to go. Now, I just gotta wait for Josh to get here. We then made our way to the film festival, but before viewing any films, we had to make one of our own.
Here, $50. Honestly, if you could just give me some dance lessons, you would literally be saving my life.
Okay, 1, I don't dance, and 2, this is $5.
Me and Josh ended up having a pretty good time at the festival and met a lot of really talented filmmakers while we were there. And even though it wasn't my favorite year because the feature-length films weren't all that great, mostly, a lot of the short films were actually pretty awesome. Mostly. And so I chalked up this year at the festival as a success. Oh, and if you were paying attention earlier in this video, that flame pattern may look familiar to you. Huh, that's a nice shirt. I wonder where you got that from. Yeah, he bought one of my shirts. Home now. So, further thoughts on Johnny, specifically related to Sing 2 this time. Yeah, I was kind of sad that they didn't elaborate more on are there mutual feelings between Johnny and Ash. I don't know, maybe they plan on doing that for Sing 3, but I feel like if they do that, it's going to come really out of nowhere. He met Nushi, and she's cool. I kind of would rather that they just stay friends, though. I don't know if I really want to see a romance blossom between them. We both know the struggles of falling behind in dance classes, and probably the part that stuck with me the most in that film was the part of him coming out of the theater with his hand shaking. Oh boy, yeah, I feel you there, Johnny. I had a professor in college who had that same effect on me. Great to see Johnny and his dad hug it out again. And I will say, as much as I did like his cover of Sky Full of Stars, I do have some nitpicks with just, it didn't quite work as well in this movie, I think, for two main reasons. One, it's really hard to top the I'm Still Standing cover. I mean, that's just, that's always going to be a hard one to top. I'll be interested to see what they give him in the third movie. And two, as good of a rendition as it was, Sky Full of Stars really isn't much of a battle song, so I'm kind of surprised they went with that for a dance fight. Still, great visuals, good singing, so, you know, I can only complain so much about that, and I don't want to complain. Because we know no matter what Johnny sings, it's gonna be fire! Okay, so David said that he and a friend are going to the Comic-Con that's coming to town this weekend, and he suggested that I use this time as an excuse to do one of the costumes. Now, most of the costumes that I've put together are fairly casual and I don't feel like are all that showy, so this is going to require me to make an outfit that I was not planning on because it's a bit flashier. In other words, kind of perfect for a Comic-Con. Yep, Gunter's gold hoodie and pants.
And nothing else.
Because this was yet another unexpected costume, I actually had to do a lot of my shopping for this one while I was on vacation out of town with my family. And while I wasn't expecting to find a gold hoodie and pants, what I found ended up being kind of perfect. Okay, so the fact that I found both of these items from different stores, but while I was out of town, I don't know. I take it as a sign that I was meant to make this video from the beginning. Which, you know, would mean a lot more if this was like the first items of clothing I found and not the last ones I bought. Either way, only issue is that this one says Tacky Jacks, which is actually kind of funny because Jack is my uncle name, what my nieces call me. Although now I'm thinking the implications of this, maybe not so funny. But as you may be thinking, this is not exactly something that the always glamorous and very confident Gunter would be wearing. And that's another reason why I'm kind of glad that these are similar colors, because I'm going to be dyeing again. I'm fine. I'm going to be dyeing clothes again. And the plan is to dye both of these yellow and then give it sort of a gold sheen. We'll see how that works. I'm hoping that by going with gold and yellow, the dye will, like, you know, understand what I'm trying to do. I dyed those pants and hoodie a golden yellow, and it actually came out pretty good. And now my attempt to paint this. I set about giving these articles of clothing a gold sheen, and it didn't last long before I ran out of paint and had to go buy more. But as gold is not as common a color as a lot of your primaries, I had to scour several different craft stores to get a large enough amount. Thank God for coupons and sales. Although I have to say, not holding much paint withstanding, one of the plus sides to these things is I kind of like the smell. Don't worry about me, I swear I'm not into huffing or anything. When you're so used to normal spray paint smell, this is just a lot more pleasant. Kind of wish all spray paint smelled like this. And after giving it about as even a coating of the gold paint as I could, I went over it with a layer of glitter spray a few times. I used most of it on the front though, since I only really had one can and really needed to use it where it would be seen most. And since the gold color could sometimes look a little bit like an orangey green, I actually think that the glitter spray was a good idea as it gave it a little bit of a sparkle. Although when I picked up the clothing after its first spray, I did think it looked a little bit like a chalk outline that you would see at a crime scene. What hideous deed took place here? Could it have possibly been a crime of fashion? The cans that died, so this costume could live. Okay, so I don't know if any of my normal hats are gonna be really appropriate or matching this outfit, but I do have this old black hat that I don't wear as much anymore, so... I mean, I have to wear a hat. I mean, it's kind of my thing. Well, I guess that's as good as it's gonna get.
Don't you look so worried, face? I've got one for you too.
Okay, so yeah, the multiple layers of paint has made the outside of this a little stiff and gritty, but because the fabric's thick enough, I actually don't feel any of that on the inside. It's actually still pretty soft and comfortable. I guess I need to do something about Tacky Jacks. Made it to my first Comic-Con. Traffic and parking was a nightmare. I guess I'm not too surprised by that, but I was surprised by just how many roads were blocked off for main entrance. If I had to read a sign that said exit only just one more time. So, thoughts on Gunter? Gunter's not particularly my favorite character, which is probably going to lead to some awkward questions if anyone recognizes my outfit and they're like, oh wow, so you're a huge Gunter fan too? And I'm like, no, I mean, I like him. I think Gunter is the character that a lot of us were worried was going to be really cringy, but honestly, he's just kind of a sweetheart. He's really supportive of everyone, and I'm jealous of that confidence he has. Also, I'd like to thank the writers for not making a stupid love triangle subplot between Gunter, Rosita, and her husband. I'm glad they didn't go that route. Thank you. Thank you for that. I definitely wish I had Gunter's dance moves, which, you know, if they break out Footloose, you know, I'll tear the floor up with that jam, but, yeah. I'm gonna have to work on a few dance moves. Need to watch like a best of video, see if they have any of those. After the excruciatingly long wait in the line, I made it in where Josh was already waiting for me with his friend Louisa. And then we proceeded to wait for my friend David and Ricky. David went as Renaissance Mario. I'm kidding, I think he went as his D&D character. Josh went as an Indiana Jones fan attending a Comic-Con. And for my first Comic-Con, it was a pretty good one. Come to find out, the thing that makes up a lot of Comic-Cons is people walking around and saying, "I love your costume, can I get a picture with you?" Not that that happened with me, I don't think anyone recognized my Gunter outfit. And I sadly didn't see any other Sing characters, not that I was really expecting to. But then when I saw the photo backdrop, I knew I had to do one last recreation. Even with all the variety of costumes surrounding it, my friend said it was actually pretty easy to spot me out of a crowd. So there's a good reason to wear this outfit. You'll never get lost. First Comic-Con for me was a success. It was as easy as Dusselberry pie. Okay, you didn't see that short. Okay, now I gotta find out where I parked in this giant behemoth of multiple parking lots. And thankfully, though, I had the insight to take a picture of where my car was and its surroundings. Because, you know what my mom used to say, "Gunter, you're not as stupid as your papa." Afterwards, me, David, and Ricky went to a restaurant where I didn't find out until we were walking up that they were not wearing their costumes in. I thought about changing, but honestly, if you're not confident being Gunter, then who can you be confident as? And I think a large Comic-Con is as good as a finale as any. So, thanks for watching me as I go through all these multiple costume changes. Along with all you fine viewers, I would also like to once again thank Makara Tours, who, even when she's feeling at her lowest, is able to provide boundless amounts of inspiration. And although this probably goes without saying, big thanks to the movies that started this all. Thank you to the cast and filmmakers for making a set of films that have brought me and so many others a lot of enjoyment. I guess if there's anything that y'all can take away from this is, don't be afraid to try new things, whether that thing is karaoke or an entirely different video than one you're used to making, because new opportunities might just be new doors that you can walk through, with something great on the other side. And as far as if I've learned anything myself through this, well, I can see new things that I didn't know I was capable of. But honestly, more than anything, the thought that kept coming back to me was just how many friends I now have in my life. Ones that are willing to be in videos like this, and plenty of others that weren't even in this video. And it honestly really made me wish I could tell my younger self, don't worry about feeling like you don't have any friends right now. Pretty soon, you'll have enough that you won't be able to fit all of them into 1 hour-long video. For you fellow Sing fans out there, keep on singing and dream big dreams.